Right, so this time then we're going to start having a look at the actual power flushing process itself and what's involved and what it's all about. Now, power flushing, well, the clue is in the name, really. It's a very powerful machine with a very, very powerful pump inside, which we connect onto your heating system, and then we run that with water in it, and the pump and the machine pumps the water extremely high velocities through around your heating system and radiators. And while that's happening, we can agitate the radiators by using tools to loosen up any corrosion in the radiators, and that will then pump around the system, go into the machine, and then when the water in this machine is dirty, we can then dump that down to a drain and continue refilling with fresh clean water until we removed all of the corrosion from your heating system. Now that's basically it. So it sounds reasonably simple, which I suppose in a way it is, but unfortunately nothing is quite that simple in life, and people do tend to take advantage of the most simple things. So I apologise for this because we have to get a bit intimate on the camera, so I do apologise. I obviously don't want you getting up this close to me because I don't want to scare anyone. Anyway, if we look at the heating system itself and you look underneath the boiler here, we have a flow pipe coming down and a return pipe coming back from the radiators. So when your boiler comes on, it pumps hot water down this pipe, it goes out to the radiators, it goes round and it comes back up into this pipe where it gets reheated and pumped back round again. Now earlier on in one of the earlier videos about corrosion, we used the jar. And this is a sample of what you might have in your heating system. We also had a little chat about the heat exchangers. Now, when people power flush, or when, especially the larger companies, most companies or reasonably sized companies or individuals will make you sign a disclaimer. And you might wonder, well, why am I signing a disclaimer when I want my heating system power flushed? Well, there's a good reason for that. The power flush machine itself is incredibly powerful. These machines can pump water up to 90 to 100 litres per minute through your heating system. And the whole process relies on the speed and the velocity of the water to dislodge and move the corrosion and sludge from the heating system into the machine so you can dump it. Now then, modern day condensing boilers are not manufactured to work at those sort of flow rates and pressures. In fact, modern day condensing boilers, I've nicknamed them Tiny Tims, and that's because they are quite weak, sickly, poorly, and destined to leave this world prematurely, just like the Dickens character. So, they're not really manufactured to take those sort of flow rates that are generated by a power flushing machine. Add to that the actual heating system itself. If you've got old radiators and they've been badly corroded, and you've got radiator valves and pipework under the floors. Now, a power flushing machine will identify, believe me, it will, and it will find and it will exploit any weaknesses or weak points in your heating system. And this can cause split or perforated radiators, it can cause leaks on radiator valves, and it can find weak joints in the heating circuit under the floors, and it will create problems with leakage. Now, for this reason, companies, or the larger companies, will make you sign a disclaimer to say that you have been made aware of what the machine can do, the damage it can do, and that they will not take any responsibility for things that they cannot see, as in pipes under the floors, etc. You also find that sometimes after a power flush, a few weeks later, all your radiator valves start to leak, and that's because the glands and the seals and the stuffing boxes in the valves are old and they're worn, and where they've been battered for about 6 or 8 hours by high velocity water, they basically give up and then they start to leak or weep. So take that into consideration and then think, well, if that's what it can do to a radiator and pipework system, what's it going to do to one of these? So the golden rule of power flushing, certainly as far as we're concerned anyway, is that you never ever power flush with the boiler connected to the system, because you can do some seriously catastrophic damage to one of these by using a power flushing machine and leaving this in the circuit while you're power flushing. So it's a really bad idea, and we've seen the evidence of this And on several occasions we've had to replace boilers because they've been power flushed and the damage has been so extensive that the boiler's just been beyond economical repair. So how do we avoid this? Well, quite simple really. There is a chap in North London somewhere. I'd love to meet him because I'll buy him a cup of tea at my favourite Turkish restaurant at Efes down the Commercial Road and probably buy him a kebab. Because there are a few installations in North London that I've been to over the last couple of years, but when I walk in I see this. Now this might not look a lot, you know, it may seem quite insignificant to yourselves, but to me I'm in heaven. You can just about see the tops of these red lever valves here and here. So I've put these in on the test bay obviously, but there's a chap in North London that's doing power flushing or installing boilers anyway and power flushing, that when you go to one of his installations this is what you see. So you see 2 lever valves, 2 T's cut into the pipework and 2 capped points here. Now the beauty of this setup and the reason it makes me so happy is because I then know that A, the system's been power flushed very well by someone who's very competent and obviously knows what he's doing. It also tells me that the problem with the boiler that I'm going to fix is not likely to be related to anything to do with corrosion or a dirty heating system. It's most likely going to be a problem with the boiler itself. So everything makes my life easier. And the reason it makes me so happy is because if someone has taken the time to connect the power flushing machine here and here, installed 2 lever valves and then service valves on the boiler, basically what he's done is connected his machine here and here and then used the lever valves to open up the waterways round to the boiler, to the heating circuit, and his power flush from here going down, out to the radiators, back, up and back into the machine here, which means the boiler has not been smashed to pieces by high velocity water. The other thing to think about when you think about this is that if you've got this in your heating system, do you really want 100 litres a minute of pressure and flow pumping this into your boiler before it comes back out and goes back into the machine? Especially if you've got something like this in there. And the answer to that is no, you don't. Now you can power flush from radiator points. So you can remove a radiator, which is by far the most convenient and easiest thing to do. But if you're power flushing from radiators, you won't necessarily power flush the whole system. You can still isolate the boiler. You could put a bypass in. But realistically, if you're going to do that, you might as well just do this. So when we do the power flush, or we power flush any sealed system, okay, this doesn't apply to vented systems with header tanks in the loft, but sealed systems, whenever we power flush, first thing we will do is drain down, cut in 2 lever valves like this and this, cut the pipes and put 2 T's in, and then we will use these points to do the power flush. And that way we won't destroy your boiler by power flushing with it connected to the system. Now, if you've paid lots and lots of money to have a power flush done, and you look under your boiler and you see something like this, a setup like this, then go and sit down in the lounge, pour yourself a large G&T, ice and a slice, of course. Put your feet up, switch the telly on, pat yourself on the back and congratulate yourself on making a very good investment. If, however, you look under the boiler and you've paid lots and lots of money for a power flush and they connect it onto a radiator by your front door, or a radiator by the patio door, or a radiator by the back door, you might want to go into the kitchen, pour yourself a very, very strong espresso and have a little perusal through your prescription for some antidepressants, because you may find that they could have done more damage than good by power flushing the wrong way around. However, I'd like to find a chap in North London that does this when he installs his boilers. I'd love to shake his hand and buy him a cup of tea, because it makes me very happy when I go to one of his boilers that he's installed or power flushed, because I know that I'm dealing with someone who knows what they're doing. So that's how we do the power flush. There are other opinions and other, well, I don't know what to say really, but people have very sort of irate views concerning power flushing, but this is the way we do it and it's the only way we'll do it, end of story. If you need a power flush or you've got a problem, by all means give us a call. And the next video I'll do a little line diagram on a PowerPoint showing you exactly what I mean, showing you the actual circuit, and you can see with the machine and see where the water flows around and why we do it this way. So there you go. That's the next one done. Moving on to the next video, and I'll see you there. See you in a minute.